very pleasant afternoon. Listening to Albarka Radio. My name is Dr. Mohammed Chiroma on the program today, and this is Albarka Forum. Of course, we shall be talking about education. They say if you're educated, well, that is just the weapon you can have to go to any battle. And to this light, there are a group of young people who are under the association called Qaloon, who are out to see that they educate people, especially people in the north. In Bauchi here, they are out to educate people who speak the basic language in Bauchi, talking about Hausa on the health activities, and of course they've been writing a lot of books and of course a lot of topics that has to do with your health. Advocacy is one area also that they've been venturing into, and of course just trying to educate people on the basic necessity that has to do with health. When you looked at health as it affects the northern part of the country, you see that in manpower it is an area that is very limited to the people of the north, with Bauchi not an exception. This group of young people have seen the necessity or have seen the vacuum that this is creating, and of course also how people are not being reached, some because of the language barrier, due to the fact that this vacuum is being filled by people of other areas in Nigeria who lack the basic language, that is Hausa. So the communication here is having a gap, and they've decided now to come together, write a lot of books, go around with some outreaches, advocacy to see that they bridge that gap. And we'll be talking about their foundation, what is it that they've done, and what do they see in the future, or what they think they'll be doing in the future. To represent this group in the studios, we'll have pharmacist Qaloon Mu'azu, who is representing Qaloon as the founder and chief coordinator of the e-founder, and that is the founder and chief coordinator of Qaloon, while Usman, who is Usman Bashir Abubakar, is also here. He is of the a representative of the headquarters, and of course also we have Fahad, who is also a representative from the advocacy department of the group. Gentlemen, you are all welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much.
Well then, Kamil, let me start with you to go. Just tell me a little bit about the foundation.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. As you rightly introduced, Qaloon Health Support is actually a platform. Basically, we are an online-based platform that focuses on health education, health advocacy, and health support, as you rightly said. And also Qaloon Health Support, which has the acronym QHS, we focus on the use of local language. As you said, we are now working on Hausa language, basically because it is where we come from, and that's where we want to start. So our basic model is use of local language and also community participation. So we try to provide support in terms of health education, and we provide advocacy about health, and also we provide support, so to say, in terms of advice, drug review, and what have you. So we do that in Hausa language, and we do it to the Hausa community, just as you said, in order to fill the vacuum created by the inability of the Hausas to speak English and the sentimental nature of the Hausa man towards his language. So we feel that if we provide these contents, educative contents about health in Hausa language, and in also in a non-technical manner, as it would be understood by even a layman who has zero background in health or science, so we feel that we are going to make a lot of impact. So that's a brief about QHS.
Yeah, and if I come to you, Ibrahim, if I come to you, Bashir, isn't it? Yeah, Bashir, if I come to you now to ask you this, what informed your decision to really go into this? What was the motives behind you coming as a group, sitting down, thinking, and then setting up this very group, Qaloon? What was the motive?
Okay. My motive of coming together as a group as Qaloon Health Support is to make people, the community, to make you up to date from just, most prevalent diseases. Some people just know about the disease, but they don't. You can see a person suffering from diabetes, but you don't know maybe the most cardinal signs and symptoms of the disease. So in this group we have a lot of professionals, so we sit down, we digest. If you come with a condition secured for help, we sit down, we digest. You bring your support, this one bring his support, we digest, we come out with a particular solution. So this is more of a teamwork. So our aim is to make the community, the layman, we learn the technical way in the school, so we come to the non-technical way. So to say, we speak the Hausa language, which most of the community people don't know how to speak English, so we speak Hausa language to you. We have write-ups. We also start recording audios on particular diseases. So that's our main aim, to make you have an insight, enough knowledge on particular condition. So when one is educated, as we know, education is power. When you are educated about a particular disease, at least you can know how to prevent yourself from such disease, and you can tell somebody, you can show them the way how to prevent, even treat himself, because you are updated about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Fahad, when you looked at the gap that is being created, especially I remember this, my grandfather of blessed memory, each time he has to leave the village and come to the hospital and been prescribed with drugs. After those drugs, I have to go to the village, the duration of the drugs, stay with him, administer those drugs to him, because all these things are written in English language. Do you think about you coming now and then bringing in the Hausa language for people to understand what is it that is written in English? If they see it, they know that, okay, this is what is written to them to take. Do you think this will really give people that belief that they can come to the hospital, they can seek treatment, they can be knowledgeable on how to take their drugs, or when to go to the hospital, or why is it important to go to the hospital, or why is it important to see symptoms and then now say, okay, we want to go to the hospital? Do you think this will really bring Sanko in it?
Yes, as my brothers rightly said, we are a group of professionals of different professions. Some of us are pharmacists, we have doctors, we have medical laboratory scientists, we have nurses among us, and what have you. So this group of professionals, we come together to advocate, educate and support people on various disease conditions, so that they will prevent themselves, they can prevent themselves and even the near community from coming down with these diseases, because there is a saying that says prevention is better than cure. So the disease we want to advocate on, some of them are curable, some of them are not curable. So this saying that says prevention is better than cure is only applicable to some of them. In some cases of some diseases, prevention is the only way to cure them, because once you come down with some particular diseases, there is no way you can cure them. You can just be managed till the rest of your life. So we came as a group of professionals to educate people, and what we have one. Initially, we wanted to do just online advocacy, while at the end we found out that there are some remote areas and villages, and even inside the cities there are some people that do not have access to internet, so they may not find this online advocacy useful. So we now want to embark on offline advocacy. We want to mobilize our volunteers to do offline advocacy in their community, in their own language, to educate people or to enlighten them about this disease condition and how they can prevent themselves from coming down with the disease. And one of our intentions is to be organizing community outreaches from time to time. And here we have like a timetable where for the activities of 2020, where the fixed schedule of health awareness campaigns to be embarked upon by Qaloon Health Support. So these are some of the activities we want to do in this year 2020, like Cervical Cancer Awareness Week, World Cancer Day, World Tuberculosis Day, World Health Day, World Malaria Day, World Immunization Week, World No Tobacco Day, World Blood Donor Day, World Sickle Cell Awareness Day, World Hepatitis Day, World Mental Health Day, World AIDS Day. The timetable is subject to change. More schedules might be added or otherwise removed if the need be. So I think this advocacy or this particular group of volunteers advocacy will go a long way in creating awareness to the general public on how to prevent themselves from these disease conditions, so that they will be free of the diseases.
You still not answered my question. My question to you is this: do you think by all these activities that you've mentioned, if you are to put them into Hausa and you are to go down to the communities and then distribute booklets, pamphlets and whatever to the community, will they be more aware of what you've just said?
Yes, they will be more aware of what I just said.
Okay. And Chairman, Chief Coordinator, if I come back to you, that is Ibrahim Khalil, when you looked at every volunteer group, do you have people or other NGOs that you are partnering that are giving you support, or where do you get your support from?
Oh, thank you very much. May I please say more about your previous questions before answering this question? So as you said about our work actually impacting more on the, just as you gave an example with your grandfather of blessed memory, yes, in fact it is one of our motivating factors. I was opportune to work in a very remote area, having access to people that are ready to bring a lot of money for their health, but then because of the lack of knowledge of how to use it, they may end up not getting the health that they intend. You may spend a lot of money buying drugs, but because you do not take the drug as prescribed, maybe you don't know how to actually translate what the doctor said into action, then it leads to lack of the therapeutic outcome, what we call technically, that is the outcome of the having taken a drug. So we want to actually go into the remotest of villages via our volunteers and agents, so that even if a grandfather does not have access to the internet, his grandson might have a phone. Even if he doesn't, we want, like, at least in a particular community to have an agent, a QHS agent, that would actually be consulting our main QHS for support. This is a patient that was given these drugs. Okay, let us see the drugs. Maybe he has forgotten how to take the drugs. So they send us the picture of the drug and we tell them, this is paracetamol. You are supposed to take it 3 times a day, 2 tablets 3 times a day, and you must not take it for more than 5 days because it may have an effect on your liver. These information are very important, and we feel that even those in the remote village need those information. So it will go a long way. Your question, so I'm only explaining how it's going to affect these people. And as you said regarding our source of support or funding, to call it blankly, actually we have 2 models or approaches to funding or to sustainability of our project. Number 1, depending on the project we embark, we are going to be applying for grant. but for now we have not yet received any grant, and because of the nature of our own work, our own approach is an impact-based approach. We are actually identifying a problem in the community, and
we sincerely apologize for the break in transmission. It was due to some technical difficulties. Yes, Ibrahim Khalid, you were talking.
Yeah, I'm talking about our approach to funding, how we intend to raise fund and sustain our organization. As I said, we have two approaches. Number one is the normal NGO-based approach, in such a way that you apply for fund, and those that have a belief in the kind of project you are taking, then they will give you what you need in terms of facilities that you need, maybe in cash and in kind. This is actually a very difficult approach for us because of the nature of the project we are embarking on. We are embarking on education, support, and advocacy. Not a lot of NGOs have interest in that, but we have identified that as the problem of our community. So our own is an impact-based approach. We have identified a problem and we want to solve it. So we are not actually saying we will not go that, we will not use that, but we have a plan B in case that one doesn't work out. Yes, so that is why we have another approach that is called social entrepreneurship or social impact entrepreneurship, in such a way that we will devise means of making money out of this platform, and then the money would be used to sustain the platform. We cannot actually, it will not go a long way if we say for now we are using our own money to sustain it, but it will not go for a long time. So we want, by as time goes on, we have a website, www.qaloonhealth.org. We have a Facebook page, Qaloon Health Support. We have Instagram page and Twitter page. So we have a lot of followers, and we have a lot of visitors on our website. People visit our website to read about health conditions. We have made a lot of posts. Over 20 topics have been discussed so far. So when someone goes to our website to read about a disease, we get a lot of visitors, and that gives us a prospect for advertisement on our website, and we will get some return. And so these are some of the ways we intend to make money out of and then sustain QHS.
Yeah, Bashir, now talk about the support, because they say three basic things in the Qaloon Foundation, talking about support as well as advocacy as well as education. Talk to me about the support aspect. How would you be supporting people?
Okay, when we are talking about support, you devise a means of helping people. So let me put it this way. For instance, now you have a patient in your community, and such patient is suffering from a particular disease, let's say HIV, or let me put it diabetes. So such patient may not actually know the cardinal symptoms of diabetes. So, and you are a professional, you know the disease very well, you have well enough knowledge about the disease. By seeing him complaining to you, excuse me my son, as I can see how you package yourself, you must be a health professional. I have been suffering from all this. I've been urinating frequently. I have been suffering from thirst, and so on. By his complaints, these are the cardinal symptoms of such disease. So you be telling him you ask him first, what and what have you been taking, your main ration, and so on, and his exercises, everything about the disease. If he tells you these are the things and this and that, you can assume. You need a laboratory confirmation to say this is a particular disease, but you can assume these are the diseases. So the way you support him, you can be telling him that, so this thing you've been eating can cause this and can cause that, the way you move around, so on and so forth.
Assuming
Yes.
I am a layman,
Yes.
and I also come in contact with your group, and after you've long gone, how do I stay on the support?
I think
Yeah.
should answer this question.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. We have our own social media platforms, and our inbox is always welcome. Some of the topics, these three cardinal points of QHS are actually connected. So when we make a write-up about a disease, then someone gets to know that, wow, I may be having that disease. So he seeks for support, and the support, as he said, is in form of advice and all that. We can peer a patient to a professional. We have a lot of professionals, and the good thing is that
was exactly what I was asking.
yes, so this is it. We have a peer-to-peer. We actually peer a patient or a client with a professional, because we use the word client. It's not always the patient. As you said, if your grandfather is sick, he might not be the one that would be chatting. He must be actually a 21st century grandfather to have access to the internet. So but he can assign his grandson or a son to actually be communicating with us, because we have a very large internet penetration, and it is growing. So we are assuming that if not everybody, but at least in every family, we would have someone that has access to the internet, and he would have the WhatsApp number of at least a professional that he would advise. And if it is a case that has to do with a specialist, and he would now refer him to a person that is an expert in that field. If it is a case of endocrinology, that is things that have to do with our endocrine system, diabetes and the rest, there are people that are expert in that field. Maybe this is a senior registrar in endocrinology. If we mistakenly refer you to a patient, to a professional that is not expert, he would then refer you back to that where you belong, and then it will be, you will be going to the hospital, you will be receiving your drugs at the pharmacy, but you need a support at the comfort of your room. You will just pick your phone, just as you chat and text your friends, you chat and text your doctor, your QHS professional. Also, the doctor does not have a lot of difficulty in attending to you, because it is not a normal face-to-face consultation. It's just like the way he chats with his friends. So you'll be chatting, I'm chatting with my friend, I'll be chatting with my client. So in such a way, it would be the support would be provided, and you will remain in contact with QHS. And in case you have a different disease, you may be referred to a different professional, or if this professional is kind of busy due to one reason or the other, he may be on call, he may be actually he may be very busy or has a technical problem with his internet connection, you may be referred to another professional. It is almost impossible for all of us to be off at
the same time. Yes, and Fahad, how do you, when you wake up in the morning, you look at your phone, and then you communicate with people in Hausa language, and on daily basis, your Facebook page, your WhatsApp page, that is a Qaloon Twitter page, is growing? Do you feel satisfied that you are doing something for the cost of humanity?
Yes, anytime you are helping people or you are supporting people, there is this feeling of satisfaction that you are doing something right, that you are doing something good, and even the people around you, the people you are helping, will appreciate you, even if they are not appreciating what you are doing at the start. When as the time goes on, they will now be supporting you and be appreciating what you are doing, and you will be rewarded by Almighty God for what you are doing. So there is this feeling of satisfaction anytime you are helping people.
So how many followers do you have in Qaloon?
We have like, I think it's up to 15,000 followers.
Yeah, 15,000.
Yes.
That's a huge amount.
Yes.
And these 15,000 followers, from when did you begin? From when did you start the Qaloon Foundation?
Started in November, 28th of November. We made our first educative write-up. So
Which November 2019? And between that time and now you have 15,000.
Yes, visit us on our website.
Quite huge.
Yes.
Now let us go, just to remind our listeners that this is Alberca Forum on 97.5, and of course today Qaloon Association is here. It is all about translating medical terminologies in Hausa, medical prescription in Hausa, medical diagnosis in Hausa, medical symptoms in Hausa, and of course diseases that we often go to the clinic in Hausa and doing it in a very simple language that everyone can follow us up on this, and that is just the essence why Qaloon is here, to bridge that gap that people who have barrier in language, a barrier in the scientific language as well as the English language that is spoken in most of the hospital, find it easy to communicate with their doctors, to reach out with their doctors, and to reach out with people that will give them the very first aid that they need. And Qaloon Foundation is up, and of course is going into places to see that people, especially those who are disadvantaged in speaking any other language apart from the Hausa language, to be able to tap into the vast knowledge that these professionals from the medical field, from different backgrounds, different disciplines of the medical field, have come up together. With me in the studios today that we've been discussing this is pharmacist Qaloon Mu'azu, who is the e-founder and chief coordinator of Qaloon, as well as the representative of QHS contributors, talking about pharmacists, pharmacist Usman Bashir Abubakar, and Fahad is from the medical laboratory scientist, who is also part of us, and of course also from the advocacy department. We've all been discussing what their group stands out for and what it is that they do in the community. Now let us move on. When you sit down with a lot of groups that have come from the medical world, that are carrying out researches, that are carrying out outreaches, and they are carrying out other health supportive units, I know of those that are involved in cancer, those that are involved in diabetes, those that are involved in septic shocks. All those ones I know, they do come together with the doctors and patients as well as everybody in it, and then sit down and discuss ways forward. When you meet out with your peers out there who are also trying to do the same thing, do you feel encouraged that you've started, and then they say, okay, yes, be on the path, the road will be a little bit of storms, but you always arrive there? Do you get that pat on the back to give you that encouraging hand?
Yeah, of course, we actually do get encouragement both from those above us and from our beneficiaries. Just as I heard you asking my brother here about the satisfaction, actually our inbox is full of appreciation, positive prayers from people that actually benefit from the work we do. And also we have a lot of people that they are above us, maybe our seniors. We are just young professionals, but then we have our seniors that feel, yes, these boys are doing the right thing, and they are open for help. Actually, we have a team of about, I think, 18 medical doctors working at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital, who I met personally, and they gave me time. I explained to them about our programs. They actually they appreciated it, and also they told us that they are open for help. We may not have all the knowledge of health and medicine, but our seniors our consultants, they actually they got our back, to use the American terminology. So we also receive encouragement from other people in the non-health sector. You would be surprised to know that our graphic designer, our web designer, he actually designed our website for free. Just he charges, he's a VIP web designer, but then he designed our website for free because he appreciates what we are doing. He's based in Abuja. He charges premium charges for his services, but because he appreciates what we are doing at the grassroots, he actually designed our website for free. We have received a lot of support from different people. We have someone, he's an expert in video editing, and also a volunteer. He has participated in, he has experience for many years, more than almost 10 years of working in the NGOs. He is offering to, he lives in Kano, but he says he is offering whenever we are ready. He would sponsor himself to Bauchi to come and offer to us and our other volunteers training on this work. So you can see that the encouragement comes from everywhere. It comes from the beneficiaries, and it comes to even those that have succeeded in their civil society work, and they are actually, we feel encouraged. Yes, we started this as a very small project, but because of the encouragement, we always keep growing. We keep growing, and that's it.
And Bashir, look at it this way. We've talked about encouragement. We've talked about so many things here. What if somebody out there is listening and say, okay, this young man, they are here, they are talking to me, and then I want to get to them, I want to reach them. How do we get about that?
Okay. As the chairman already said, we have the Facebook page, Qaloon Health Support, the Twitter handle, Instagram. These are all means of coming to us with your problems.
So if I just post into the Facebook and then Qaloon Health Support,
yes,
I'll get there.
Exactly.
So you can now get to me the spelling, because as you say here, there are a lot of different ways people want to bust into it.
Okay. The right spelling is Qaloon, Qaloon.
That is for Facebook, and then
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think I need to chip in more here.
Yeah.
We have we have different ways that we can be contacted. As he said, we have our Facebook page. You can search Qaloon Health Support, QALOON Health Support on Facebook, or you can, if you want to go direct, you can write www.fb for Facebook.me/Qaloon Health. You can reach us on our Facebook. You can inbox us. We have a Twitter handle at Qaloon Health, QALOON Qaloon Health. Also, we have email. We have two email accounts. We have the email that is for Gmail, for those that prefer that. We have qaloonhealth@gmail.com, qaloonhealth@gmail.com. Also, you can contact us on our personalized email, which is info@qaloonhealth.org, info@qaloonhealth.org. Also, we have our website, www.qaloonhealth.org, www.qaloonhealth.org, and we have a phone number, of course. It is 090-1355-8783, 090-1355-8783. So these are the various ways that we can be contacted, depending on what is more convenient.
Yeah, and they say you've written about 8 different topics or more than that. Can you just enlighten me on the various topics or elements that you've written about on that is in Hausa?
Yes. Because I am a medical laboratory scientist, so I have my limitations because everybody in the healthcare system when everybody in the healthcare team has its limitations of practice. So I have written based on my limitations. I have written on diabetes mellitus. I have written on pre-eclampsia during pregnancy. I have written on erythrocyte sedimentation rate. That's thesis we carried out in the lab. I have written on yes, I can't really remember all of them.
Yeah, but all, if I go to the Qaloon Facebook, I'll find them there.
Yes, you will find them there.
Yeah,
On our website too.
and on your website too. Yes, Bashir, what have you written on?
No, I have not written on anything yet.
Okay, okay. And for all the topics, Chairman, the final question, for all the topics, what have you written on? That if I punch to your Facebook now, I will see, and then I will read and go through.
Okay, yes, as the chairman, I am also the chief contributor. So all contributions come to me. We sit down, we edit, we digest before we
publish.
Publish. Yeah. So I have a list of almost all the topics that we discussed. We discussed on hypertension, that is high blood pressure, hawan jini. We also talk on ciwon kai, that is migraine headache. We talked about anemia due to menstruation, that is matsalolin al'ada na mata. So sometimes this is a response to a question of a particular client who is suffering from anemia, and she actually described symptoms of anemia. So, and it was due to it only happens during her menstrual period, and so she was advised to be taking food and also drugs that will improve her blood count. So we have also talked about priapism. It's actually a problem that happens to sickle cell disease patients. So sometimes priapism is actually it's a continuous and painful erection with a lot of pain. It happens to sickle cell patients, and also maybe those that take overdose of sildenafil. So this is it. We have also talked about vaginal infection. This also was a response to a question. We talked about hypotension, the opposite of hypertension, low blood pressure, saukar jini. We talked about matsalolin al'ada. That's problems that have to do with
irregular
menstruation, too much blood, so little menstruation, taken too far. We discussed the different problems of menstruation. We also talked about epileptic seizure, that is parpadia. Some people will think that it is tapping aljanu. They will say that this guy is suffering from iskokai, whereas it is actually epileptic seizure. Yes, it is. It happens due to repetitive firing of the neurons. The neurons that take message from our brain to our body, it directs whatever we do. So when there is fast firing, then someone would be shaking, his hands would be shaking, trembling, and they would sometimes actually, yes, they would have hurt themselves. So education about that, someone even actually came to me and he told me that because of that, I told them that they must be taking that drugs in order to remain healthy. So he is now reporting that hardly would his brother have that problem again, since when they were placed on a particular drug on that. So after we talked about diabetic mellitus, as he said, we talked about depression. Depression is a very important topic for us. We have
a gentle killer, that's what they say.
Of course, we have a special interest in depression, mental health, and sickle cell disease. So we talked about depression. It was a two-part series, and we intend to do more on depression actually, because it is a real problem, and we have a denial attitude here that we don't actually agree that depression exists. So we want to do more about depression. We have done 2 series, and it was well received and well appreciated. A lot of people said, "Oh, I never knew I had depression. I thought it was another problem entirely." So we have talked about depression. We have talked about hepatitis. It was hepatitis was also a two series, and actually it's very important too, because so the earlier you notice, the better, and it's very good that you go and test for hepatitis, and if you don't have it, you take the vaccine. That is very important, because some hepatitis is deadlier than HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS is just very popular, but hepatitis is deadlier. So we actually try to educate people about hepatitis. So we talked about a lot of other things. We talked about how to take drugs generally. That is from my own part, professional part. How to take drugs. When you are asked to take drugs 2 times a day, do you just take it 10 a.m. and then take the second one 2 p.m.? No. When you are asked to take drugs 2 times a day, you divide your 24 hours into 2. You take it 12 hourly. If you take the first dose 8 a.m., you are supposed to take the second dose 8 p.m. Not that you take 8 a.m. and then 6 p.m. and then you just change it. We took our time to explain how
people are supposed to.
Yes, and how the negative effect of taking drug haphazardly. So we also talk about we have a parasitologist among us. So we talked about toxoplasmosis.
That's big about English.
Yeah, that's why I have to say that. From parasitologist, this is caused by some worms, actually. The symptoms is actually rashes on the body, and sometimes this disease can be contacted from it's a zoonotic disease, a disease that you can get from an animal, a pet, particularly cats. So we get toxoplasmosis from cats. We have explained about it. About erectile dysfunction. We talked about erectile dysfunction and other controversial topics like that. So.
Well, Khalid, if I allow you, you go on and on and on and on to talk about your foundation. Well, I'm thanking you for finding time to come to Alberca Radio, and of course also to share with the people that whatever disease someone is suffering, there is an organization out there that is trying to really put it simpler to people in Hausa language. And just a final question, which is a yes or no question that I want you to answer me here. Do you intend all these things in online? Yes, you told me your intention of now say coming out online and going offline. Do you intend to make booklets that will get round the people?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Because a lot of people, if they don't have access to this, they should be having access to that. That has been Ibrahim Qaloon Mu'azu of Qaloon Foundation, as well as pharmacist Usman Bashir Abubakar, and Fahad Umar, who is a medical laboratory scientist who found time to come to Alberca Radio and of course discuss on the need why they decided to write their books in Hausa, so that people who are speaking the Hausa language will go to them. And finally, for people who wish to follow you, where do they find you?
Yeah, as I said, I will say it again. If you want to follow us, first and foremost, you can visit our website www.qaloonhealth.org, www.qaloonhealth.org. You can also visit us on our Facebook page, that is Qaloon Health Support. You can search Qaloon Health Support, or you press the link www.fb.me/Qaloon Health. We have our Twitter handle Qaloon Health. Our Instagram handle is also @Qaloon Health. Also, we have a phone number that you can talk to us directly. That is 090-1355-8783.
Thank you and goodbye. God bless you.